Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig Podcast, Amazon is selling a Fire Stick / Game Pass bundle. Nintendo is slinging a new Joy-Con charging stand in Japan only. We found out we can play as Link somewhat in Echoes of Wisdom, and we finally know who Emio is. Randy, that was a really hard intro.
It was tough. 4 topics, but you made it through. I'm proud of you.
It only took, what did we do, three attempts?
3 attempts.
Yeah, I would like to tell you guys that we always, one take the intro, but we don't. That would be a lie. A lot of times we do.
Normally we do.
More often than not, we do.
But we rarely tackle 4 topics. In fact, I don't know we've ever tackled 4 topics on a podcast.
Yeah, and the way I like to structure the intro is topic, joke about a topic.
Yeah.
But this time it was topic, and I just didn't have any room for comedy.
No room.
I had room for enthusiasm, but not comedy.
Well, enthusiasm is more important, I think, in this instance. I mean, comedy's good.
Do you realize the world we live in?
Do
you know the things that are going on around us?
We need comedy.
There's literally nothing more important than comedy.
Well, you guys that are new to the podcast, welcome to the Gaming Gig Podcast. This is a gaming podcast. It is viewer powered. We read and react to your comments that you leave on the polls on the main Gaming Gig channel. Mm-hmm. Also, guys, if you like these gaming conversations, make sure to subscribe because we're almost at 900 subscribers on YouTube, and we could really use your help to get us over that finish line.
And once we get to 900, we're just going to move the finish line again and shoot for quadruple digits. You know what I'm saying?
That's the plan.
And that will be a celebratory achievement.
Either way, we could really use your help, especially if you like these things. A small little gaming podcast.
That's right. We could do the YouTube thing and be like, we ran the statistics, and out of all the people that watch the videos, only 23% are subscribed. But I don't know that shit.
No, first we'd have to run the statistics, which we have not done.
We're not going to do that. But we appreciate you either way.
So, first things first. Amazon has put out a bundle that is sort of in collaboration with the Xbox, or at least it seems to be.
It seems that way.
Yeah, and basically what it is it is a Xbox controller.
Yep, a white one.
Well, you can get it in all different colors.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you can get
it in
white.
I thought it had to be the white controller.
Nope. They have all different colors. All different colors. And they are at different price points depending on which color you get. Like some of the controllers, I think the white, the black, maybe the blue, they are at $70. Well, let me tell you what's all in here. Yeah. Xbox controller, Fire TV stick, and then a month of Game Pass. So basically, it is like everything you need to game on Game Pass without a console, and that is the way that they are advertising this.
Mm-hmm. Now, that monthly Game Pass is only for new subscribers. So if you already have Game Pass, you can't do that.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That seems
It's the fine print down here.
That is really bizarre.
1 month Xbox Game Pass Ultimate valid for new Game Pass members only.
So if you're already a Game Pass member, this isn't as good of a deal, but it's still a decent deal. Interesting, though, but there's a conversation to be had here about cloud gaming, because this is what this is. You're not playing these games natively on a Fire TV stick.
What?
You are streaming the games through the cloud, and that is an experience that can be okay. It can sometimes even be borderline good.
I would say it can be good.
Yes.
Will it be good? Sometimes.
Sometimes. It is often borderline bad or just straight up bad, and it weirdly depends on which game you're playing, which seems really strange to me, but that seems to be the case, at least in my experience. Certain games will run pretty good on cloud. Mm-hmm. Certain games just don't run very good on cloud, and I don't know why.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? Because it should just be, the game should be running great on whatever's running it, and then your internet should just take care of how good you see it, right?
You would think, and I don't know the specs and the technical reasons why, but certain games just don't run as good through cloud. It's like they maybe don't allocate as much server bandwidth or whatever to certain games over others. It's like they have priority on maybe some of the more popular games.
Do you think Tim and Phil are trying to pull a fast one?
I think Phil is. I think Tim wants everything to be great.
Maybe.
I think
I can hear him now, You see that Fire Stick?
I love that.
You can play on that Fire Stick.
I love that we keep calling Todd Tim with no reference for why we do it. It's just a long gag.
Who is Todd?
Exactly.
Like from Fox and the Hound?
And so when people, newcomers to the podcast, they just hear you say Tim, they're like, who is Tim? I just love that. Well, now if you listen to this segment, you'll know the joke. Yeah,
way to let him in on the gag. But that's the way an inside joke should work. Periodically, we should open the gate. And let new people in, right? Yeah. So Todd is he the fox from Fox and the Hound?
Man, Fox and the Hound is not something I'm super familiar with. I've seen it, but it's been like 2 decades or more.
I'm pretty sure Todd is the fox, and Tim Howard is the Bethesda guy. He's the, you see that mountain, you can go to that mountain kind of guy. Anyway, we all know he's, masterminding all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's why we don't get any.
Now that he's infiltrated Xbox, he really is the controller. He's the mastermind.
Absolutely, he is. That's why we don't get any Fallout games anymore. The Bethesda game that we did get was subpar. It's because his attention is divided.
He's trying to take over Xbox.
There was a rumor on the internet that he was Emio.
Well, we'll talk about that later because we know who Emio is, and it turns out it has nothing to do with Bethesda. But, I mean, there was a rumor. There was a rumor. Right.
You be the judge.
Okay, so going back to our Fire TV stick thing.
Oh, yeah.
That is what we're talking about. Do you think that, one, this will get people into Game Pass? Mm-hmm. And then number 2, if it does get them into Game Pass, will they stick around? Like, is it a good enough experience to be your primary way to access Game Pass, or maybe your primary way to game, full stop?
I think they want this to be a gateway game thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think they want people to buy it, try it out, be like, wow, this Game Pass thing is really good, and then start doing some research and realize, there's some options to play this stuff natively that would be even better. And maybe they start researching and maybe jump in from there. That's my guess. Do I think this would be good enough to use all the time? If you weren't that discerning, yeah. Do I think it'll get new people into Game Pass? Maybe some. Mm-hmm. Game Pass has been around a hot minute. It's not exactly a secret.
I mean, Amazon has been advertising this particular bundle pretty well.
Yeah.
It's definitely made its rounds, and it's only $70. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but
Actually, it's $69.
Actually, it's 68 something.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, they're really giving us the deals here. But that's pretty good when you consider that an Xbox controller on its own, I think, is $50. Mm-hmm. So it's just $20 more. And if you say, well, it gives them come with a month of Game Pass, that's $20 on its own. Yeah. So at that point, you're really just getting this Fire TV stick for free.
Which I have a Fire TV stick because of some convoluted way I used to try to watch baseball. And, it's not a bad little device, to be honest with you. It's not if you didn't like the interface of your smart TV, you could totally just run everything through your Fire Stick and it would be pretty nice. So,
yeah, I assume it's very similar to the people who just have the Fire TVs. Like it's probably the same operating system, or very similar at least.
And it's nice. I like it. That's how I access DirecTV is through because they don't have a native LG app.
Oh, okay.
So it's a nice little, especially if you're getting it for essentially free. And that's not a bad value.
Yeah, no. And so you see this as maybe they're trying to get people in. I kind of see it maybe as more of a supplemental thing that they're using to maybe for people who have an Xbox or have a PC and they have Game Pass, but they don't have access to it to every TV in their house. Mm-hmm. Maybe you could be like, that one TV in this room, I'd like to be able to play games on it occasionally, but I don't want to dedicate another console in there. I could buy one of these and just have it live in that room and it be just the console substitute in that room.
Sure. I mean, that's not a bad supplement. I could see, you keep your Xbox in your living room, but occasionally you want to fall asleep to the sweet clickety-clack of the sticks, so you stick this on your bedroom TV. That's not a bad little idea.
No. Another thing I just thought of is maybe it's also a supplement for people who have consoles, but they don't have an Xbox. Maybe they are in the Nintendo ecosystem or the PlayStation ecosystem, and this is a way for them to dip their toes in the Xbox ecosystem, get in on that sweet, sweet Game Pass for the lowest upfront cost.
Right. And then once you suckle the teat of Tim's Game Pass, then you maybe you graduate to something more expensive, maybe you don't.
Exactly.
I can see that.
Yeah. Or maybe they realize that Game Pass is just the thing that they're trying to do, and they don't really care if you have a console. So they say, you know what? This is what we have.
Yeah.
And we know that Xbox was developing their own version of this.
Yep.
Of course, that got canceled, probably because they realized, wait, we really don't have to make our own device when there's already a device that we could just put an app on and call it a day.
That makes a lot more sense.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they'd get more upfront cost from it. They make more profits, I should say. But I mean, do they really need more profits beyond just selling you an Xbox controller and Game Pass? I mean, that's probably all they really want anyway.
Right. And I mean, then I'm sure it would have all these entertainment apps and stuff built into it as well, just like an Xbox does. But but I'm saying, like, if you had to buy another stick, then that's another HDMI that's being taken up. And I don't know about you, but those things are precious.
Yeah,
HDMI inputs are precious. Like I'm maxed, honestly.
I've definitely agree with you. I bought one of those HDMI splitters that you can plug in like a ton of different ones, and then my first HDMI slot has really like 8 open spots.
Yeah.
So I definitely was maxed out. Have been maxed out for a long time. If you consider how many we only have, most TVs only have a max of 2, 3, maybe 4 if you're lucky.
Yeah, ours has 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That splitter's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I am next.
Well, they work really well. They work really well.
Good. All right. So, we've kind of shared our take on this. But we want to know what you guys think. So, we asked you guys, would you recommend this to someone who wants to start using Game Pass as their main way to access and play games? Randy, hit us with the results.
Yeah, really we asked, what would you recommend? Not would you recommend the Cloud Stick.
What would you recommend?
Yeah,
Sorry.
what would you recommend? Like, would you recommend the Cloud Stick? And the results were this. 5% of people would say that you should get a cloud device like the Fire TV Stick. 34% of people said you should go with the Series S, get a console, but a digital one, the cheapest console you could get. 16% of people said the Series X console. Get that full-fledged console experience. And then finally, 45% of people said you should just get you a gaming PC because that's the best way to experience Game Pass games. But that is the most expensive option by a long shot.
Yes. So, let's just jump straight into this first comment.
Sure.
It's exactly what we're going to say here. So we got a comment from All Knowing,
yeah.
who said, I hope people don't buy PCs just to play Game Pass. And I saw that, I looked at the results, and I'm just thinking, like, people couldn't have voted on this for a new way to make Game Pass your main way to play. People had to have voted gaming PC thinking if you already have one, right?
Yeah.
They had to have.
Yeah. Although the thing said, what would you recommend for someone who wants to start using it? Well, I mean, maybe they're just assuming they already have a gaming PC.
Right.
That's what you should use.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you have a gaming PC already, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, but there are some drawbacks to that. I mean, like one, you may want to play on your TV in your living room, and you may not have a way to hook your gaming PC up to your TV in your living room easily.
Yeah.
There are some drawbacks. A lot of people, the second most popular answer was the Series S console, saying, look, don't get one of these little dinky Fire Sticks. Get a Series S console, get you a full-on console. It's only like, $300?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a lot more expensive than the Fire Stick. That's for sure.
It is. And that's kind of what I went with here in this poll. Because I'm thinking, if you want to get into it and you don't have a way to do it, to me, the ability to run these games natively is big.
Yes.
So the cheapest way to do that is the Series S.
Yes.
And for that reason, that's why I'm out.
Yeah, and that's why I'm out.
I don't know. I went Shark
I
Tank.
think it's telling that like only 5% of people said that you should consider maybe getting this Fire TV Stick.
It's because cloud gaming is a dirty word.
People
are scared of it because it doesn't work as good.
It doesn't work as good. I mean, it can work, but I don't know that I would personally want it as my main form. But that being said, you probably 95, if not all of the people who are watching this podcast.
Don't let me in with you.
Probably appreciate being able to play a game natively and the type of experience you get from that versus cloud. Whereas maybe this is aimed more at, like you mentioned earlier, maybe this is aimed more at just kind of the broad general audience who doesn't have that like discernment about it. You know what I mean?
Like if my mom wanted to play Game Pass.
Yes.
This would be what she would need to buy.
Right.
Because
it would be a waste of money any other way.
Yes. And she wouldn't know the difference. She would never, ever, ever call me and be like, Daniel, I am detecting input latency.
Right.
Like she would never do that. She would just be happy with what she gets. And she probably wouldn't even ever mention that occasionally the video gets weird. Like she just wouldn't know. Right. For those people, this would be great. Right. For people who know a little more, it could still be really good, but you
maybe
just
as a
kind of know
supplement.
it depends on your use case. Not everybody is my mom.
Or maybe just a way to, like I said earlier, to dip your toes into Xbox. You know, you may be a PlayStation person, but you like the idea of maybe occasionally dabbling in it in Game Pass.
And you know what you can do if you're a PlayStation person? According to VGC article, if you have one of these Fire Sticks, you can use your DualSense with it.
Yeah, you don't have to buy this bundle. You could just buy, I don't know how much a Fire TV stick is, but
I don't either.
You could probably you can just buy one of these and then use an existing controller that you already have. A DualSense or an Xbox controller, maybe even a Switch controller, I don't know.
So unless we have some fake news here, you'll be able to play Xbox games with the DualSense.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
So speaking of, I was said a Switch controller, we have a comment here from Hover. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm lost. I'm sorry.
I think you nailed it.
Okay. Who said modded Switch? Now, do people play Game Pass games on a modded Switch?
I don't know. I put it in here because it came so out of left field. I've never mentioned anyone or never heard anyone doing this.
Maybe playing cloud games through a modded Switch?
Yeah, maybe. Because the heavy hitting games, it's not going to be able to run anyway.
No.
So like this seemed so odd to me. Also, like just be careful because Doug, Reggie, they're all listening.
Yeah.
And they have legions of the Nintendo ninjas to dispatch at will.
We just outed you to Reggie. You better watch out.
Well, we didn't because we didn't say your name right, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. See, Reggie can't read. He only listens.
Well, we'll have it blurred.
We'll blur it.
If we put it on, I mean, I know that the first time it was on screen, it wasn't blurred, but if we put it back on, we'll blur it for your safety.
Right. Just for you. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe people are playing cloud games through the browser or something on a modded Switch. I know you can access a browser on a Switch somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can play Xbox Cloud games on that browser. Maybe.
Well, I mean, there was a rumor for a while that you were going to get an Xbox Cloud app on Switch.
That was the rumor.
That would have been cool.
It didn't happen. Hasn't happened yet. It could still happen.
All right. We got another comment from Kit. This one comes from our Discord server, which we're going to tell you about later. Kit said, that does sound like a good deal, but cloud gaming relies on consistent bandwidth, which just doesn't work out sometimes. My vote is for the Series S if it's going off solely Game Pass.
So this is where you're at. You think if you're going to get into Game Pass, at least have the option to play it natively because that's going to be your best experience.
Yeah.
And at your lowest price point to be able to do that.
I definitely agree with Kit.
Yeah.
As I do most times.
Yeah, I mean, like the Series S is, especially sometimes it goes on sale.
Yeah.
And you can get it for cheaper than $300. So, I mean, at that point, yeah.
It's a hell of a deal. It's a really good value. It's just, it's gotten some flack over the years, but
yeah,
it's got its uses.
It's gotten flack, people saying that it's holding back the entire generation because it's underpowered compared to the other consoles. And if you put a game out on Xbox, it has to be able to play on the Series S. So is it really throttling the generation? I don't personally think so, at least not a whole lot, maybe a little bit.
It's probably throttling. That explains a lot of the performance issues on the Switch.
Exactly.
It's because of the Series S.
But the Series S is the problem with the Switch. That'd be a hilarious argument to try to make.
That would be. Don't tempt me with a good time. So, yeah, I think that about covers, our Amazon Fire Stick / Game Pass bundle. You got anything left before we move on?
No, let's move on.
All right, so before we move on to our next topic, I want to tell you about our Twitch channel. Guys, we stream on Twitch a fair amount, okay? Every Monday, every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Sunday. Occasionally, we add an extra stream. You need to come hang out with us, okay? You can find a link in the description of this video. Go throw us a follow. It's a good time.
Yeah, we stream at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So
that's right.
Okay. So, Daniel, crazy as it is, 7 years into the Switch's life, Nintendo is putting out a new accessory. It is a charging stand.
Yep.
Of course, you don't have to use a stand. You can lay it down, but it's a device that lets you charge Joy-Con. Yeah.
So, the Switch is a little long in the tooth, and we all know it's on its way out. But is there a reason that Nintendo couldn't just make a peripheral for their device, in the final year of its existence? Like, everybody's all like, this is way too late.
Well, so this has led a lot of people to speculate that this is not because of the Switch, but because of the Switch 2, Nintendo is putting out a successor to the Nintendo Switch. Sorry, Daniel. They're putting out a way so that you can charge your Joy-Con, because the rumor is that whatever is coming next it will not use the same rail system that is currently on the Switch. So you won't be able to charge your old Joy-Con on whatever comes next.
Yeah.
You have to have an external device to do this. So people are saying that that is what this is.
Yeah, and in that logic sounds really good to me. I'm not going to lie to you. The successor to the Nintendo Switch is rumored to have magnets, worked into the rails somehow. And, that makes sense. Maybe old generation Joy-Con don't slot in right. You need some way to charge them. It doesn't really make sense to require people to keep their old Switch in the dock, even if they're not using it. So this kind of makes sense to me. I'm not going to lie. They're releasing it in Japan first, maybe to kind of test the audience a little bit. It doesn't sound unreasonable.
No, it doesn't sound unreasonable. What seems strange to me is there's already a way to charge Joy-Con off of your Switch, which is the charging grip.
Yes, but as we ran into last night live on stream, there are the occasional weird Joy-Con that wouldn't fit in that grip.
Yes.
Last night on stream, I was playing a little Nintendo World Championships, and I was using the NES controller from NSO. And I knew it was going to be dead because I hadn't used it in a long time. And I was going to just plug it in. You can't. You have to charge it via the rails. So I put my Switch in the dock, and I slotted 2 NES controllers on the side, and it looked super silly.
But that's the only way to charge them.
Yeah. But if there was some sort of dock that maybe looked a little less silly, like I would like that. That sounds cool. And I don't have a charging grip. I never bought one. But if I did, those controllers wouldn't fit anyway.
Yeah. Is it a coincidence that this comes out at the same time as the Nintendo World Championship game that is all about the NES, and people might be using those NES controllers to play the game?
Yeah.
And they may want a way to charge them off of their Switch.
Well, they're definitely marketing the NES controller, heavier than they were for a while. Now this new game is out.
Yes.
And I think they might be. Are they discounted as well?
I don't know.
But anyway, they're for sale, and I've seen them advertised side by side with this game. So maybe so.
I mean, that could just be it. It could just be that. It could have nothing to do with the next system, but maybe they're just going for both things. Right now, this charging stand is only releasing in Japan.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance that it's going to come to the States maybe just a little later. They probably know that more people in Japan have these NES controllers.
Yeah. They probably have those statistics available.
Yeah. And so maybe they're thinking like...
They're also just a Japanese company, and maybe they're just, test it on their home market first.
Totally. But either way, I mean, I think that it's a cool accessory. Is it feel a little random and weird that it's 7 years into the system? Like, why didn't they make this right when the Switch first came out? Because it seems so simple. It's like an idea that makes total sense. Like, it's just a place to charge your Joy-Con. But at the same time, the Switch doesn't really need that, because a place to charge your Joy-Con is just on the Switch.
Right. That's why I've never looked for any other sort of solution.
Because you don't need a solution.
Because I don't need one.
And if you have multiple sets, generally you're going to buy a charging grip, and then that's where you can charge your additional Joy-Con. But you made a good point, not about just the NES controller, but third-party Joy-Con.
Yeah.
They're not going to fit in the charging grip.
No,
and
but they'll fit on this dock.
They'll fit on the dock.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, you can get all sorts of weird. Now, a lot of those third-party Joy-Con don't charge via the rails. You'll have to plug them in or something separately.
But some do.
Some probably do.
So it just depends on what you're dealing with. But it's probably just a way for them to cover all their bases. And I do think that this probably has at least a little to do with what's coming next in terms of Switch 2 or successor to the Nintendo Switch.
I like the idea of we always said that we wish Nintendo had made a first-party split controller pro. I would like to live in a world where I have one of these little docks, and I have maybe my regular Joy-Con that are like sleek and portable, but of course they're next generation, so they're comfortable as well, right? And then I have my Split Pro like slotted in as well. And when I want to play my Switch like at the house, I like put the Pro controllers on there, for maximum comfort. And when I want to leave and put it in its little case, I put the other ones. Like, I think that would be cool.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's another thing. Maybe on the whatever's coming next, maybe they have that option. Maybe they have a sort of Pro controller that's split in half, and you can do that. And they need a way for you to charge that off of the Switch should you want to.
Yeah. Now, why didn't Nintendo ever make any crazy Joy-Con? Like, why didn't they make their own like split GameCube controllers and things like that? Like, it just seemed so obvious off the rip.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, this is going to be sick, and then it's just nothing but third party.
Well, I mean, maybe they just knew that third party would fill in the gap and they didn't need to do it.
You didn't think they wanted the money?
Well, I just don't know that. I mean, how big of a market is it beyond like real like enthusiasts? Probably very little of a market.
Maybe
at
not
all.
the GameCube one. Maybe that's not that big. But like a split Pro, I can see people wanting that.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pro controller is not a niche product, Now you split that some bitch
Nor
in half.
is
maybe
nor
it
is
would
like
be.
a grip for the Switch.
Right.
And that solves both problems if you have one of those. Because you wouldn't need a grip.
Right. You wouldn't need a grip, and I wish grips weren't necessary. I really do. So I don't know. I love my Switch, and I'm ready for the successor. And if this if this charging dock is a peek into that reality, then I love this thing.
Agreed. Okay, guys, before we move on to our next topic, I want to tell you guys about our Discord server. We would love for you to join. It's basically just a place where us gamers hang out. We talk video games. You get there are notifications there when we go live on Twitch, but also we talk about the polls there. It's just a really cool place to hang out with some like-minded gamers, and it's a very accepting server. We would really love for you to come hang out. Check out the invite link in the description of wherever you are listening to this podcast.
Listen, I know where you're coming from, okay? Because I know what your Discord dashboard looks like, right? The left side of your screen is littered with servers. I know, okay? Most of those servers you joined in good faith and never commented in because you looked at them and you said, this place is already functioning. I feel like there's a little bit of a wall up. How do I break through this wall? I just won't. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to delete one of those servers and join ours because our server is not like that. And I don't want to clutter your dashboard up any more than it already is.
Yeah. So get rid of the one you haven't commented ever. You don't need to be there.
And then comment in ours because we're not like that. That's what I'm trying to say. We're cool.
So
Thanks.
So cool.
Thanks for the join. Randy, we learned something new, bro.
What did we learn?
So we learned that in the new Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom, we learned that in some capacity, at some point, for some undisclosed amount of play hours, we will get to be Link.
Yeah, there was like I think it was a just game description somewhere.
It was the ESRB summary.
Yeah, and they said that, as Zelda, you have these things, and then as Link, you attack with the sword. And we're like, wait, you play as Link?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, as Zelda, you do all this cool shit. And then as Link, you have a sword and arrows. And we were like, what?
We play as Link? So this has caused some like wild speculation in terms of like, how much are we going to be playing as Link in this? Because they showed a big old trailer. They did a breakdown of the full game. Never once did they mention playing as Link.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They introduced Link in his little toy form.
They showed a little cutscene, basically.
He had his hood up. He looked freaking BA. And then they locked him away, and they were like, here's the game.
Yes.
And then we never thought about him again. We just thought he was dead and gone and buried. We thought the hero of time had fallen. He's not the hero of time. What timeline are we in?
I don't know
what timeline does this game fall in?
This is a new IP, so I don't know what timeline this falls into.
Link's Awakening, I'm pretty sure, is its own thing. Doesn't Link's Awakening like branch off the timelines, and it's just like a standalone, like, because it's
if
dream
no
world
spoilers
and all that.
here, but yeah, it's its
come
own
on,
thing.
it's Link's Awakening. It's for the Game Boy.
Okay. It was all a dream, y'all.
So but that doesn't mean that this game is in that
No,
universe.
just because it's in the same style doesn't
Right.
mean it's in the same universe.
Okay, interesting. Now
Because
I wanna know where
Zelda
this-
was not in that game.
Right.
Zelda does not exist in Link's Awakening.
True.
But Zelda is the star of this game, so it just happens to be in the same art style. I don't think it's the same map. I think the map, looking at the overworld, it looks like the same map that's from like, what is it?
On stream, when we got this live, you immediately were like, "This is the map from Link to the Past." That's what you said.
Yes.
I don't know if you're right on that or how you knew it so fast, but that was the quote.
It looked like
and I want it to be right.
It looked like the one. Well, Link Between Worlds reuses that map, does it not?
I don't know. I think so. I think it does.
Okay, and
But that's a 3DS game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
and to me, it looked like the exact same map.
have you even played that game?
Link Between Worlds, I have.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize you'd played that game.
I think that it reuses the same map as Link to the Past, but I could be wrong about that.
Have you ever played that game?
No.
Okay.
But I played Link Between Worlds.
Listen, it's the same map.
It seems like it's the same map.
We're doubling down on this. It's the same map. So whatever Link is in Link to the past might be whatever Link is here.
There you go.
Because there's like the hero of time and the hero of all the other stuff. Anyway, we kind of got off topic.
No, but before we move on, we have a poll, but before we move on to that, I want to know how much do you think we're going to be playing as Link in this? What do you suspect? What's your gut reaction?
70-30 Zelda Link split.
Really?
That's what I think.
Okay.
I think you're going to mostly be Zelda. I think occasionally you're going to kick it over to Link. He's going to be in this like underworld kind of deal. Fighting baddies. And bad guys.
Part of me thinks that's what makes the most sense. And then part of me thinks that you're going to play as Link for like the first 5-10 minutes and then you'll never play as him again.
And that'd be it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I could totally see that too.
Like kind of you're going to play out the opening sequence, basically what we saw in the trailer. You know, Link trying to go rescue Zelda and then he gets drug into this weird dimension and then you're playing as Zelda. And I could see you just doing that. And maybe at the end of the game, maybe you come back and you play as Link again at the end once you get rescued. Once Zelda rescues Link, because they flip the script here.
When Zelda rescues... Because a lot of times Link rescues Zelda and then she kind of like nukes the boss. That's a thing that's happened.
That is a thing that has happened before, yes.
So maybe this time Link does that.
I can see it. They could just be totally reversing the roles here.
You know, he comes out and seals the darkness, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I do know what you're saying.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense, too.
We'll just see. We will see. Okay, so we have a poll here where we asked, do you plan on picking up The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom? Daniel, hit us with them results.
21% said yes, ASAP as possible. 29% said yes, but probably not immediately. 17% said maybe. I ain't decided yet. And at 34%, people said no, I'm not interested in this game at all. Leave me alone.
The highest number was I'm not interested, which is a little disheartening, but still 66% of people do plan on probably playing it, at least in a maybe. But
That's some quick math, bro.
I'm quick with the math. But
you also got it wrong. It's wait a minute. 21 plus 29 is 50. Plus 17 is 67. Plus 34 is 101.
Look, they round these numbers, okay? It's probably weird, and they're probably rounded up on one and rounded down on the other. That's all that happened. Or they rounded up on both, is what happened. That's why we got one extra number.
I'm shook.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is weird, though, that the majority says they're not going to play it. Because this game is called Legend of Zelda. It's kind of a known IP.
Yeah, I mean, if we had asked this question about, Tears of the Kingdom, which we did, I'm sure.
I think we did.
I think it would definitely be higher in terms of people going all in. But that being said, this game isn't going to appeal to everyone. One, you don't play as Link at least very much. You do play as Link a little bit at least. Who knows? You might play him as 50% of the time. Who knows? I feel like we would have heard from Nintendo if that was the case.
Yeah.
But
in the trailers, it doesn't show that at all. It just shows you doing Zelda stuff.
Yeah.
Other than
it may show like a little tiny bit of you fighting
at the very beginning.
Very beginning, yeah.
And but it doesn't show anything else about Link. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I mean, this is a top-down. It's a new formula. It's not even like they're going back to the old top-down formula for Zelda. This is a new formula. It's a new game. It doesn't have Link as the main playable character. So I could get that not everyone's going to be on board. We probably have more people that are a little cautious.
Yeah.
Only going to get into it if it's like there's a bunch of hype behind it. Comes out and people are like, oh, this game's amazing.
Yeah.
I can see some people flipping.
I hope it is.
Yeah.
Where do you fall? I know where you fall. Yes,
100%. I'm going to play this as soon as possible. But yeah, where do you fall on this?
Yeah, I'm going to play it ASAP as possible as well. I've decided to spend, I love my Steam Deck, but I'm trying to show the Switch a little more love than I have recently in its final year.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to play this game.
Yeah, you got to play the definitely what will be the last Zelda game to come out on the Switch.
Yeah.
You can't leave that out.
No.
Especially since it's a new one. It's not like it's a remake. It's a new game. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, we have a comment here from Bobbity who says, I'm a simple man. If it says Zelda on it, I will buy it.
I hear you. You're not the only one.
No. I mean, I shouldn't say that I would buy any Zelda game because there are certain things like for example, if they put out a Switch port of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess separately, I would buy Twilight Princess. I wouldn't buy Wind Waker because I've already played Wind Waker. I have Wind Waker for Wii U, and I'm not like jonesed about replaying that game.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't played Twilight Princess. I would love to play that on Switch. So if they did that, I would probably not get Wind Waker just because there'd be no real reason to.
Maybe. I also haven't played Twilight Princess, but I loved Wind Waker. Like, I loved it when it was new, and I still love it. And
But when's the last time you played it? See,
it's been forever.
Yeah, exactly.
But if they put out a Switch remaster of it or whatever...
But what if you had just played the Wii U version?
Oh, that'd be different.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be different.
Well, I didn't just play it, but I've played it within the last few years. And it's like, I don't need to replay it anytime soon.
Right. That game is just so good.
It is a very good game.
Such a good
game. Most Zelda games are really good.
Zelda is one of those crazy franchises because I've gone on record many times live on the internet that Hyrule Field and Ocarina of Time was my first feeling of open world. Wind Waker did the same thing. I remember leaving the island on the ship and being like, I can go anywhere. And you really can't. But it feels that way. It feels like you have...
you kind of can, though.
You can, but it's not as big and vast as it felt, is what I'm saying.
It feels bigger than it is because there's so much water.
That's what I'm saying. It's mostly water.
If you take out the water, it's not that big.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it just made me feel so cool, and Zelda just gotta, it tickles my heartstrings a little bit.
You could make the same argument about Sea of Thieves. It's not that big if you take out all the water, but the game feels huge because there's so much water.
There's also a lot more going on in the water in Sea of Thieves. The water is its own level in Sea of Thieves.
There's stuff that pops up in Wind Waker, if I remember correctly. There are you'll run across the occasional shark or something. I can't remember what it is. Some sort of thing will try to come at you. You can do your fishing. There's I don't know. There are flying things. I can't remember how this works because it's been a while since I played, but...
Yeah, there are things.
There are things.
But not as much as Sea of Thieves.
No, not near as much.
Also, that game was made for the GameCube.
Yes, big difference.
Not a slight.
All right. Hit us with the next comment here. The next comment, not the neck comment. This person said nothing about a neck.
For sure, Matt. Oh, for sure, Matt. Said maybe eventually, 5+ years from now, but not a fan of the crafting system, and I don't like how they didn't call it Legend of Link. So I have two things to say about that. One, I've heard that it's funny.
The Legend of Link thing?
Legend of Link thing is funny.
Yes.
Because obviously you're flipping the script.
Yeah.
But they can't do that. They've kind of got a brand.
They've got a brand, exactly.
And the second thing is, now that it's confirmed that this is a crafting game, Randy, why are you skipping it?
Yeah, you guys know I don't like crafting games, or I don't mind it when a game has crafting elements. I don't like it when a game is like a crafting survival game. Say, recently I played Enshrouded, for example, or, games like Ark or even Minecraft. I don't like it when games, their primary thing that they're about is crafting, going out and getting supplies, coming back, building things. I don't much care for that.
Yeah.
That being said, this is not that type of crafting at all. This is not at all that.
Oh.
So, and this is, in fact, from what I understand, what's going on here is you find items in the world, you will basically take their essence with your magic wand, and then you can just reproduce them. That isn't crafting.
Well, not with that attitude.
It's not crafting.
Okay.
I guess you are technically crafting something through the process, but
through the power of magic, bro.
It's not like you're going out and gathering wood and stone and you're putting them together to create. It's not that. That's the kind of stuff I don't care for.
Yeah, Randy, if there's a mechanic in a game where you have to rub two sticks together to make a fire, Randy hates that.
That is not what and I really don't mind it if a game has mild crafting elements. There are tons of games, I'm playing the Tomb Raider games right now, and you collect wood and things, and you craft arrows. But it's very minimal. They're 2 ingredients, and it's always just crafting arrows. Or maybe you have some scrap and you can craft bombs out of them or something. Minimal crafting stuff, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Think The Last of Us has minimal crafting stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. It's when it's the main gameplay loop that I'm okay.
Monster Hunter World does a neat thing with their crafting. So there's a lot of crafting.
Okay.
There's as much crafting as you want it to be, basically. But you can set certain things to auto craft. So if you're running through the world and you find some herbs and you pick them up, and now you have enough herbs to make potions, it automatically does that. I really like that.
Yeah, that makes it much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't, like, it gets taxing, like, crafting the same things over and over and over.
Definitely.
I mean, like, we're on the Zelda train, you know, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom has some crafting, and it doesn't bother me. But again, it's sort of like, there's like a threshold of like, I don't mind it, but it's not the main game. Or when it's like all in on the crafting, I'm just like, nah, not my thing.
No.
Pacific Drive is another game I played recently where it was too much crafting for me.
Right. I'm playing a lot of Project Zomboid right now.
Yeah.
And there can be a lot of crafting in that game. But there doesn't really have to be. It's like...
What caused it? Was it Minecraft? Is that what gave us all these games that are just like nothing but crafting? Like, what brought this trend around?
I don't know, man. I think it might have always been here and we just didn't know it.
I didn't know. I played a ton of N64 as a kid. Never once was I crafting.
Well, I don't think we had the technology yet.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, what game like made it like so that like all games have crafting now? I think it had to have been Minecraft.
I don't think it was Minecraft.
You really don't?
No, Minecraft. What? I mean, it's not even. Nobody even hardly played Minecraft.
You're right there. No one played it.
So I don't know. I mean, if you played Minecraft, like, you're probably the only one. And do you think it somehow influenced video games as a whole, the genre of crafting games? Like, that seems ridiculous. Okay.
Ridiculous.
We got a comment here from Harvest Hollows, Randy.
Yes, you may read it.
Yeah.
Okay. When it gets a price drop, sure, but it doesn't look all that interesting to me.
To which I say, why not? Because I think it looks rather unique.
It definitely looks different. I mean, I think that they're introducing this system, this gameplay loop where you're replicating all these items, and there's really not a whole lot of combat. It's more like there is combat, but it's very unique because you are going to be doing things like duplicating or creating these rocks, and you throw those, or you create an enemy to fight on your behalf.
Right.
Like, it feels like it's going to be very non-traditional combat, and a lot of the things that we saw in the thing were like getting to weird areas by stacking a whole bunch of beds or something. Like, it almost feels like they're inviting you to break the game, to come up with your own solutions. We've seen this in Breath of the Wild and then very much in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, that's the whole thing, is like, find your own way through the game. This
feels like the 2D Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes.
It's kind of what it feels like.
I mean, obviously it's not the same, but it definitely feels in that same vein.
Yes. It feels like it has a very similar approach.
Yes.
You know, I mean, obviously you're playing a Zelda. You're making beds instead of logs. You know, like, you might be able to make long sticks in this game too.
Long stick, thick stick.
Log stick, thick stick. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that's in this game. I hope I can make a long stick, thick stick in the chibi style Zelda.
I don't think you'll be able to, but that would be cool. That would be a fun little reference.
Long stick, thick stick.
All right, we have another comment here about this game from Bubster, who said, I'd rather be able to purchase GameCube ports. Ooh, like maybe Nintendo is prioritizing the wrong things when it comes to Zelda on Switch.
That's what the Bubster thinks. So I just kind of included this because I wanted to ask you, what would you have preferred? Would you have rather gotten a new Zelda game where you play as Zelda, or would you have rather gotten the Wind Waker Twilight Princess ports?
Personally, I would rather see a new game because it's more exciting to me, because I can like still track down a copy and play an old game. Like, if I really want to play one of those old games, there are ways to play those games. There's going to be no way to play this game until it comes out. Like, it's a new thing. That's exciting. I'd rather be excited about something new than to be playing something old. Not that I can't get excited about playing an old game, but it's not the same type of excitement.
Well, I literally couldn't agree more. I think you're right. I would love to be able to play Wind Waker. I don't care that much about Twilight Princess just because I haven't played it, to be honest with you. And maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. But I have a ton of nostalgia for Wind Waker. I'd love that to be on the system. But I'd rather get a new game. Period.
100%.
Unless the game just looked like total shite. But it doesn't.
No, it looks cool. I mean, like, if they came out and it was like this game looks super lame. Like they've really stepped in it. They have done something wrong.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's not that way. I mean, yeah, it's definitely disappointing to some because it's a top-down. It doesn't have traditional like dungeons. At least we're not aware of them having traditional dungeons. It may. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's going to. It's a different formula.
Some people don't like the graphics.
Some people don't like they didn't like the way that the Link's Awakening remake looked, and that's going to translate to this because it's exactly the same.
Yeah. I think the graphics are neat, personally. You know, I will say that when the Link's Awakening stutters occasionally, it kind of has some frame drops here and there. I would like maybe for this to not do that, but it probably will, and that's fun.
It's weird because it doesn't seem like an art style that would be that intensive on the system, but maybe it's more intensive than we think because it is. Although it's top down, it is 3D.
It is.
You know, so you're still doing 3D environments. Like everything is rendered 3D. And yeah, it's kind of like they got that toy, waxy, you know, like plasticky aesthetic.
Yeah.
But it still is going to have some sort of demands. I don't know.
I think it's a cool look. I'm glad they reused it.
They need to get the Metroid Prime team on putting these together in terms of optimizing because those guys know how to make a Switch game look good.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's retro, right?
Retro, yeah.
You get retro to make a Zelda game?
No, just to optimize it. Just optimize it. Like give it to them and be like, make this work on the Switch the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. That would be cool. They'd make it happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm telling you what, that Metroid Prime remaster, I just played it like last week, maybe a week before I finished it, and that game is so good, and it runs so good. I never noticed a frame drop. I'm sure it was there.
Yeah, I'm sure they're there, but you don't notice small frame drops.
No.
It's only when you get consistent frame drops or the frame rate is swinging wildly, you know, just maybe not dropping frames, but changing, you know, it's the tempo of the frame rate. You notice that too.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I haven't really realized how important like optimization is of a game. I've never really thought about it too hard, but recently when I've been playing those Tomb Raider games, it has really struck me how impressive a well-optimized game is compared to a non-well optimized game, because you can have games that don't look intensive but not run very well. And then on that same piece of hardware, you can have a game that looks really great and run really well.
Yeah.
And, you know, even it might even run better and even look better. And it's all about how well it's optimized. And I don't know what magic they do, but it's impressive.
Yeah, it is. Now, playing the Steam Deck all the time, like you said, will make you notice that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the Switch, too. You know, I will say I never thought about optimization until I got the Steam Deck and I started looking at all these things.
Yeah.
And now when I go back to the Switch, I notice it.
Yeah.
You know, early in the Switch's life cycle, I didn't notice it because I didn't think in that way.
Right.
I was only a console gamer, and I just knew that the games they sold me that said they ran on that console would run, and the way they ran was the way they ran.
Yes.
I never thought about it. But it's a new world now. And the Switch, you know, wasn't exactly cutting-edge hardware when it dropped. Now we're 7 years later. There needs to be some pretty heavy optimization on some of these things.
Yes, there do. Definitely. Okay, so that gets us to the end of that conversation. You ready to move on to the next one?
I think so. And this is uncharted territory for us because we don't usually have 4 topics in a podcast.
No.
And so we have nothing to pitch between topics.
So we just are going to move on. It's going to be the weirdest thing.
We're just going to keep rolling. Emio. We talked about it last week. I put my theory forth. You put your theory forth. Now we have the answer.
Yeah, now we know who Emio is. Your theory was that Emio was actually one of two things. I think you pitched that maybe it was actually the successor to the Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
That somehow. And then you said maybe it was a new F-Zero game. Like maybe it was Captain Falcon.
Yes.
Both those theories seemed a little, maybe a little out there to me. But
what did you think? You just thought it was like a...
I was hoping it was a new IP from Nintendo, a new horror IP.
Yeah.
Turns out we were all wrong.
Yeah, I feel like I was a lot closer, though.
You know what? I'm going to give you this one. You definitely were closer because the successor to the Nintendo Switch is almost the same as getting a new game in the Famicom Detective Club series.
Yeah.
They're basically one and the same. which is what this is.
You bear with me on this.
Okay.
Now, Famicom Detective Club has the word Famicom in it.
Which is a console.
A different console to the Nintendo Switch. What's the next Nintendo console going to be called? We don't know. And for that reason, I have been steadfast on referring to it as the successor to the Nintendo Switch. My point being, the name of this game has the name of another console in it. My theory was that this had something to do with another Nintendo console. I just crossed my wires. Instead of going forward in time, we went backward in time. Lawyered.
Yeah, 100%. So this new game is called Emio, the Smiling Man. Importantly, it is the first new game in the Famicom Detective Club series in 35 years, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like a crazy amount of time.
That is an imperceivable amount of time.
It's longer than both of us have been alive.
Yes.
Wild.
That's
have you
pretty
played?
crazy.
Have you ever played one of these games?
No. Did they remake them?
They remade them recently.
Okay.
I think it was like within the last few years, maybe.
I thought so.
They released the first. I think it was 2 games.
I think it was.
They released Switch remakes, like completely remade
Yeah.
versions, and then apparently after that they started working on a new one. I guess it inspired them. Maybe those did well.
So I wonder if you can play those and kind of get a feel for what this one's going to be like. I guess
Probably,
you
and I think that this is, from what I understand, this game is connected to those. Like it's a sequel. Like I think there are returning characters and stuff.
can. Okay.
So I don't know that you have to play those to
Interesting.
understand this. You probably don't.
Probably not.
But
They're not going to make a 35-year-old prerequisite.
no, they're definitely not.
It's pretty
well, I mean,
wild.
the prerequisite, if you consider that they have the remakes out, I guess it's not 35-year-old prerequisite, but still probably no prerequisite for something like this.
I don't think so. Yeah, no, I've never played one. You haven't played one either, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
They're
I'm-
like visual novels. They're like visual detective novels. Like that's not my kind of game. At least I don't think it's my kind of game. Admittedly, I have not played many of those.
The
if any.
only like visual novel game I've ever played was Doki Doki Literature
Okay, I
Club,
played that too.
and I love that game.
Yeah,
So I don't know if I can say that I don't like visual novels.
true. I'm gonna argue that the reason you like Doki Doki Literature Club wasn't because it was a visual novel, though.
No, but I liked it because of the crazy story.
Yeah, exactly.
But they told that through a visual novel. So like as long as it has a good story, maybe I'm into it. You know, I don't know, like,
And it is rated mature. Who knows what this thing's gonna do?
and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I like me a bloody game. Yeah, now I'll tell you, I started thinking about this and how it's a visual novel. And I actually, last night, I spent a little time and I started playing through the Ace Detective games.
Where'd you get those?
Oh, I've had them on Switch for a while.
Oh, you have. Oh, okay.
I have one of the trilogies. There's
okay.
I think there's multiple, but I have the Phoenix Wright trilogy, and I wonder how similar it is. I don't know. That game was pretty charming in the first. I only went through the first case,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna probably keep playing that.
And that's that also, I guess, is a sort of visual novel.
Yeah.
Too, right?
Oh, it's definitely a visual novel, but it's
you make like choices and stuff, and it goes through. Okay.
yeah. I think those were GBA games.
I think that they were handheld games. GBA, maybe some DS stuff. Maybe,
Yeah.
I think there's been a number of those games.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not gonna say that I'm not into it.
Those are Capcom, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. And Cap God don't miss, bro.
You play enough Capcom games, you're going to run across a few misses. Tell that to Exo Primal.
Oh, you didn't play Exo Primal.
I know, no one did. No one played Exo Primal, Daniel. No one did.
Listen, that's like one miss in how many hits?
Tell that to that Resident Evil live service game they tried.
When was that?
Not even that long ago.
Well, I don't know shit about that. so.
Yeah. It completely just flopped. What was it called? Oh my gosh. One of you guys comment, let me know. I can't remember what it was called. Okay, so we put out a poll, going back to Emio, we put out a poll asking, are you satisfied with Nintendo's reveal of Emio, the Smiling Man, Famicom Detective Club? It's a long name. 12% of people said, yes, I'm happy with this. 6% of people said no. 15% said I'm neutral. And then 68% of people said, I don't even know what this is.
Those people are busy and they didn't have 15 seconds to spare to watch the trailer that took over the internet.
Did the trailer, I mean, like, Did the trailer really take over the internet, or did it just take over like the game enthusiast section of the internet?
Is there other sections?
I'm not aware of them, but I've been told. I've been told there are other ones. I've heard there
What
are
else
sections.
can I do with it?
Like cat videos, I think are pretty popular. Like you can look up videos of cats. You should
I
check
like
it.
cats.
Yeah, I know. You should check it out.
What about like baseball?
No.
Is there baseball?
No, that's a sport you play outside, not on the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll probably just stick to the section I'm familiar with, in which it was dominated by Emio, the Smiling Man. What do you think about this, Randy? Are you happy? Are you sad? Do you know what it is?
I know what it is. I would lean toward disappointment because I was really hoping that this was a new game, a new horror IP. Nintendo was going like full on crazy mode. That is not what we're getting here. Yes, it's rated M, which I think is very unique because as far as I know, this is developed by Nintendo. Maybe Nintendo's weird. They never tell you who's developing a game, but it's weird that it's rated M. That's very rare for Nintendo to even publish an M-rated game.
Yeah.
Much less develop one. And so that's cool, but a visual novel definitely throws a little water on the flames for me personally.
I said I was happy about it because if I'm ever honest, which I occasionally am, and if I had ever been completely honest about what I thought about this game, I think a visual novel is a pretty decent guess.
About what you thought it might be?
Yeah, I think a visual novel is a pretty decent guess.
That was why last week on the podcast you kept harping on the fact that you thought it was a visual novel.
Well, I kept that to myself. No, I'm not saying I thought that. I'm just saying I think that's reasonable. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Like if someone said,
"Yeah,
maybe it's a visual novel," you'd have been like, "Yeah, that sounds disappointing enough to be true."
I mean, clearly,
Right?
I thought it was F-Zero, but listen, man, the only visual novel you've ever played is Doki Doki Literature Club,
I
right?
may have played some others. I don't
Which
know.
was rated M,
Yeah.
and you loved it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want people to shit on this because it might tell a really crazy Japanese M-rated story. You don't know what's going to happen in the story. We just know it's going to have some twists and turns, man.
Yeah. Look, I'm a little disappointed by it. And I think that my thoughts are sort of tied up here, or I should say expressed very nicely through this comment from 02446, who said, I kind of wish game companies would stop making teaser trailers that are vastly different from the game that they're trying to advertise. I think that has some validity here. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the teaser trailer was vastly different. I mean, obviously this visual novel is going to be horror skewed, if not entirely horror.
Yeah. There was nothing to the trailer either.
Yeah, but the trailer in no way made it seem like it was a visual novel. And that is where I think that there's some validity to this comment. I think that if the fact that we could be like, maybe it's a new horror game, you know?
Yeah.
And it turns out, well, maybe it is a horror game, but it's a horror visual novel. It's like, okay, I wish that they had hinted in some way in that teaser that maybe it was a visual novel so that maybe we wouldn't get our hopes up thinking it was something maybe bigger or more, I don't know. A visual novel just seems somewhat small in scope.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we are talking about the Switch. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't know. When I think about a big horror game, I think about Resident Evil.
Yes.
And I'm not sure how good a Resident Evil game would look on the Switch.
You can play one.
Which one?
You can play
Oh,
one.
yeah. But you can't play the remakes.
You can play the cloud versions of a lot of Resident Evil games, and then you can play
Those are cloud versions.
and then you can play some like Resident Evil 4, 5, 6. You can play those natively.
But not the remakes.
Not the remakes, no.
So, I don't know that it's really that realistic to expect something like that. That may have not been what you were expecting.
Horror games do not have to be giant visual, craziness. They don't have to have that.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I hate that you're disappointed.
I'm not extremely disappointed. I just don't know if I'm going to play it. And that kind of disappoints me because I wanted to play Emio.
There's no way it's going to be full price, right? No way. No freaking way.
You're talking about Nintendo.
No freaking way.
You're talking about Nintendo. Look up whatever the Famicom Detective Club collection that came out on Switch a few years back. I don't know how much that would cost, but I would imagine that this will be priced similarly.
It's a tough one, dude.
Gosh, I can't. That one really messes with your tongue.
Similarly.
Thank you for just making me look idiotic. What do you know? It's $60.
Yeah, but this is 2 cases.
Yeah, remakes of NES games, Daniel. Okay?
I bet they don't look anything like NES games.
Yeah, like I'm gonna watch this trailer and find out right now. Yeah, you know, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about Nintendo here, okay?
This don't look like it was running on NES.
No, they remade it. They remade it and brought it up to modern standards. It looks like an anime.
It does look like an anime. And I like anime.
Just saying though, I could totally see this game being priced at full price.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're right. That could be full price. I mean, I'm just thinking about like they just put out the NES Championship game, $30. $60 if you want the collector edition. Like, but this is like that's like a collection of ROM challenges. I mean,
and speaking of, I mean, like we're going to be talking about the the Nintendo World Championship.
NES
in our bonus episode. We'll talk about more about that in a second. But that being said, I was watching you play that last night and you were tearing through it pretty quickly. I don't know that if you just played through all the things, I don't know that game's going to last you a whole lot of time. It's going to be a fairly short game.
No, I was doing all the challenges. I wasn't playing like the survival. There's a couple other modes.
Oh, okay.
But I think its main thing they're trying to push and we'll get into this. This is honestly kind of bonus episode content, but there's some other. The whole like world championship aspect of the game is not really even a thing yet because they don't post results until the end of the week.
Yeah, it's weird.
So
okay,
I don't know. But I agree with you. Yeah. It's not going to be a long game.
No, and maybe this Emio game is going to be a real meaty game. It could be long, man. Some of these visual novels can be long. Maybe. So who knows? I wouldn't put it past me in $60. Well, listen, y'all. Daniel, you have anything else to say about this?
No, I hope it's not $60, but now I'm kind of thinking it will be. And, Randy just shit all over it, so I don't even know what to say. Like, I thought it was kind of a neat idea.
It is a neat idea.
I like the idea of a 35-year-old franchise getting a new game. I think that's cool. I'm trying to support this idea. I think it's neat.
Yeah.
I think the character of Emio looks scary. I like to be scared. And I don't understand why Gamepaw has to be such a negative Nancy all the time. I was just saying,
it could be full price. It could be a $60 game.
It probably will be, Randy.
The last one was. Okay. So, look, guys, we just want to say thank you for making it all the way to the end of this podcast. And the way that we say thank you is through the 3 for Dale Club. Daniel, tell them how they can join the 3 for Dale Club.
Well, you can join the 3 for Dale Club. All you got to do is leave us a comment, say whatever the hell you want to say. Tell Randy to stop being such a jerk. Just make sure you include the phrase 3 for Dale.
Yeah, that's our secret code phrase. We look for that. And then every week we feature the people who put 3 for Dale in their comments. In fact, those people from this past week are right here.
Oh, hey, guys.
That's our 3 for Dale Club.
It's good to see you.
Thank you guys for supporting the podcast.
What y'all think about Randy being a jerk?
And we also want to give an extra special thanks to all of our podcast members. These are people who support us, and the people who support us do get a bonus video every week. It is for members only.
That's right. Today, you already know, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. Our YouTube members are Heck Vetica,
Landon Stallings,
Guy,
and Kitaclism.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for taking care of us and making sure this podcast keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
130 episodes in the can, bro.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
All right, y'all. Until next time, I'm Randy.
Which makes me Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Go Braves, 3 for Dale. Peace out.